start early.
Expect Judge Bill.
7 o'clock.
It is 7 o'clock. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Education meeting for the Cuyahoga Heights Schools on September 25th, 2004. It is 7 p.m., and we are in the PDR room, or at least near the PDR room. A roll call, please.
Mrs. Decker.
Here.
Mrs. Etter.
Here.
Ms. Prouse.
Here.
Mr. Suchaki.
Here, 4 present, 1 absent. Mr. Dobbins unfortunately cannot join us. He's with his wife today. She had an operation yesterday, and he's with her this evening. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome all students, staff, parents, and interested community members to tonight's Board of Education meeting. The board values and encourages public comment on education issues. Anyone having an interest in the actions of the board may participate during the public comments portion of the meeting, and if so, please identify yourself on the board sign-in sheet. Copy of the board agenda is available for review on the website, and please silence your cell phone during the meeting. At this point, please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point, I'll entertain a motion for approval of tonight's agenda. That's okay. Moved by Ms. Proust,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. Decker. Any discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Prouse.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Mr. Suchaki.
Aye, motion passes 4-0. At this point, in the sections 3 and 4, staff spotlight and presentations, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Young.
Okay, so for the staff spotlight, we have the motion to approve the staff spotlight resolution for September 25th, 2024 for Mrs. Paula Schaefer, who was nominated by Don Zork. Mrs. Schaefer is our elementary school cleaner. So that's the motion.
Okay. Would somebody like to make that motion, please?
So moved.
Okay. And I moved by Mrs. Etter, and I'll second.
Okay, I'm going to read the resolution. Mrs. Schaefer, come on down. Oh, come on up here. You got to stand right up here. And hold your certificate while we're doing this, right? All right, I'm going to read the resolution. Whereas the Cuyahoga Heights School District has been fortunate to have dedicated staff committed to the mission of the district, and whereas Paula Schaefer demonstrates exceptional dedication through her daily presence with a positive attitude and welcoming smile, and whereas Mrs. Schaefer diligently cleans and disinfects the elementary building environment for students and staff, and whereas Mrs. Schaefer displays a cheerful willingness to go above and beyond her regular duties, and whereas Mrs. Schaefer genuinely cares about the elementary school students, actively engaging with them, and whereas Mrs. Schaefer demonstrates her intentional kindness, taking time to greet both students and staff. Therefore, be it resolved that the Cuyahoga Heights Board of Education congratulates Paula Schaefer on her September 25th, 2024 selection to the Cuyahoga Heights Schools Staff Spotlight. Congratulations. And you also get a medal, so we're going to put this on you as well.
Just like the Olympics.
That's right. Gold medal. There you go. All right, now don't go anywhere because we'll take pictures later, all right? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I think we missed the roll call on that one.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Mr. Suchaki.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Ms. Prouse.
Motion passes 4-0. Okay, moving on to presentations.
Oh, we got,
we got
Students of the
one more.
Month presentation. So we're going to start with Mr. Dtre. We're going to work our way backwards from 12th grade to elementary school.
Ninth grade, whatever he does, ninth grade first.
Thank you all for coming out this evening. The first student we would like to recognize is the senior, the 12th grade student of the month, Tamir Julius. Please come forward. Tamir is accompanied tonight by his parents, Rikrisha and Eric Walker. He is a resident of Maple Heights, along with his two dogs, Bruno and Rain, who are American boxers. He has been attending Cuyahoga Heights since the 7th grade, and Tamir's favorite subject is math. He attends the CVCC Vocational School for Engineering Technology. He is on the school's football and track teams, and he is a member of the National Honor Society and the Spanish Club. Outside of school, he likes to play sports with his friends and mess around on cars. His most memorable experience at Cuyahoga Heights was receiving the Humanitarian Award his 8th grade year. He hopes to become an automotive engineer. Here is what his teacher wrote in the nomination. Every time I've stopped in to do something in the building over the past 2 summers, I saw Tamir hard at work getting the building ready for the new school year. He clearly takes his responsibilities very seriously and exhibits pride in his work. Whether it be summer maintenance work or academic classwork, as evidenced by his membership in NHS, he's definitely a student we can all count on to remain true to his word. Beyond that, he is a very pleasant person to be around. He always says hello, and he's very polite. I'm lucky to have him in my class this year. Congratulations, Tamir, Student of the Month, 12th grade. Next, for the 11th grade Student of the Month from the high school, we have Jasmine Figard. Jasmine let me know that she was unable to attend tonight, but I will still read what her teacher wrote in the nomination. Jasmine is an excellent math student. She participates fully in all class activities and puts a lot of effort into her homework and is always prepared for class. Jasmine also has a great attitude, and she comes into class on a daily basis in a good mood and ready to work. Congratulations, Jasmine. The 10th grade Student of the Month, Zach Schaefer. Please come forward. Zach is here with his parents, John and Debbie, and he is the youngest of 3, and the family reside in Strongsville. He has been attending Cuyahoga Heights since the 6th grade, and both of his older brothers are alumni of the school. Zach's favorite subject is American history. He is a member of the school's football and track teams, and outside of school, he enjoys hanging out with friends, watching movies, and fishing. He doesn't know yet what he wants to do in the future as a career, but he plans on attending college. Something I learned about Zach today is that he is a self-proclaimed nerd when it comes to movies. He is a huge fan of Marvel and Star Wars films. Here is what his teachers wrote in his nomination. Zach is one of the nicest students that I've worked with in my 30 years of teaching and coaching. He gets along with everybody and consistently looks out for the students who are struggling. Zach works hard in the classroom and always sets a good example for his peers. Congratulations, Zach. And from the 9th grade, our Student of the Month, Ariana Dixon. Please take it. Ariana is here with her parents, Natalia and Lescott, and Gartrell. She is the youngest of 5, and she lives in Twinsburg, along with their Australian Shepherd. This is her first year in our district, and Ariana's favorite subject in school is math. She plans to play basketball for the Red Bulls, and outside of school, she participates in dance. I learned today she enjoys singing a lot, and when she finishes her education, she hopes to become a therapist down the road. Here is what her teacher wrote. I have Ariana in my art class, and I have been very impressed with her organization and attention to detail. Ariana is a quiet, focused student who asks questions and uses her time wisely. I look forward to seeing her grow as a student and artist. Congratulations, Ariana. And next, we'll have Mrs. Scotton come up to present the middle school.
Thanks, Mr. Detrey. Hi, everyone. All right, so hi. All right, so our 6th grade Student tells you what kind of student he is. Outside of school, he has a very active lifestyle. There's just about no sport that he doesn't play. He does hockey, football, baseball, soccer. I feel like there's nothing he really can't do. And he also enjoys hanging out with his neighborhood friends. His most memorable school memory was from the 4th grade. They took a trip to the West Side Market on a field trip. And he also stated that he would love to meet his favorite hockey player, Cale Makar. All right, so let's see what the 6th grade teacher said about you, Tyson. They said, Tyson comes to class prepared each day and is always focused on the task at hand. Furthermore, he is always respectful to his teachers and peers. The most impressive trait Tyson has portrayed, however, is his willingness to lend a helping hand to his teachers and classmates when needed. Service to others without expecting anything in return is an invaluable character trait to possess. Tyson is an excellent reminder of this for his peers. Congratulations, Tyson. All right. Our 7th grade student of the month is Mia Jernick. Mia, can you please come forward? Mia resides in Brooklyn Heights with her parents, Amanda and Greg, and her 2 siblings, Quinn, who is in kindergarten at the elementary school, and her brother Chase, who is a senior this year at the high school. They also have a Rottweiler, Luna. Her favorite subject, she says, well, I have 4 of them: math, English, science, and social studies. So she loves them all. Outside of school, Mia is a gymnast at Above the Bar. And she told me that she was named state champion for her floor routine last year and placed 3rd on floor at regionals. So then we started talking about the Olympics a lot, and I said, okay, if you can meet any Olympic gymnast, who would it be? She said, well, I kind of met 2 of them already. And I said, no way, who? And she goes, Simone Biles and Jordan Childs. So that's pretty snazzy. So then I asked, well, who else would you want to meet? Who would be on that celebrity list? And she said Taylor Swift. Her most memorable school experience was being named Student of the Month. And 10 years from now, she could see herself finishing up college and on her way to becoming a surgeon. Bright future ahead. Lastly, her favorite part of the middle school are the teachers and her friends because they are nice and supportive. The 7th grade team said Mia is off to a great start to the school year. She is actively participating in our classes and communicates well with teachers and peers. Mia is also involved in gymnastics and sings in the school choir. We are looking forward to more positive experiences with Mia as this year moves forward. Congratulations on your Student of the Month nomination, Mia. All right, last but not least, our 8th grade Student of the Month is Shaylin. Shaylin, please come forward. Shaylin resides in Brooklyn Heights as well with her mom, Jamie, who is a 2005 graduate, stepdad, Joe, and her brother, James, who is a senior at Cuyahoga Heights. She also has a pit bull at home named Scarlet. Her favorite subject is lunch. She loves food. We got on a deep topic of our passion for food. She told me over the weekend she made monster cookies. That sounded really good, and I told her I'd steal the recipe. As far as school activities go, Shaylin plays basketball and volleyball. Outside of school, she's on a rec team for softball and absolutely loves it. She says that's her favorite sport. She's been playing since she was 3, actually, so she's very committed. Her most memorable school experience would be attending the football games and cheering on our team. 10 years from now, she thinks she'll be playing softball and might own her own coffee shop and be a barista. So Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts have some competition coming down the road. Her favorite part of the middle school is one of her teachers, Miss W, who's now Mrs. She got married recently, and she loves her friends. Her teacher said that we are thrilled to recognize Shaylin as Student of the Month. Shaylin has made an exceptional start to her 8th grade year. She consistently demonstrates positivity, focus, and a wonderful attitude in every class. Her ability to stay focused and maintain a positive outlook has truly set a high standard for her peers. She is a pleasure to have in class, and her efforts have not gone unnoticed. Keep up the fantastic work,
Marshall and I have been talking about this all day, all week, right? Since last week. My guy. All right. So I'm here to present the Students of the Month Award for the elementary school, as presented by the AMPS teachers, who two of them are here this evening, Mr. Bertoloni, a.k.a. the Maestro, and Mrs. Orlando, Mrs. Bob Ross. So first up, we have fifth grader Sophie Long. We've also been talking about this since she found out daily. It's awesome. Okay, so Sophie is in fifth grade. She lives in Valley View. She lives with her mom and dad and her brothers Landon, Isaac, and Todd. She has one dog named Peaches, 3 cats, Fiona, who's the nice cat, Kiwi, who's the mean one, and Lola, who's nice but sometimes angry. Her favorite subjects are math and language arts because they make her smart. Her favorite essentials are her dog because if anybody breaks in, she will jump on you, and her phone. Outside of school, she likes to play on her phone after iReady. Watch TV. She likes to watch Once Upon a Time on TV, and she's also in cheer. When she grows up, she wants to be a mom. She wants to go to college somewhere in Florida, doesn't know where yet. And her message to her parents are, thank you for helping me do all of my stuff. And what her teachers wrote about her is, Sophie is pure sweetness. She embodies what it means to be caring, honest, engaged, and safe here at CHES. Not a day goes by when Sophie does not share her kind smile and words with teachers and peers at CHES. Her attitude makes such a difference in the energy of the room. She is up for any challenge and greets it with a grin. We have all witnessed Sophie be a true friend and gentle classmate for many years, and we feel so lucky that she is part of our school. We wish more people could be like Sophie because the world would be a better place. Keep up the great work. And our last Student of the Month award winner is Marshall Worley. Come on, man. Okay. All right. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Marshall resides in Bedford with his mom and dad and his little sister, Zara, who is 1 year old. He doesn't have any pets. We had one, but unfortunately had to be put down, correct? Yeah. So we talked about that a little bit. Favorite subject is science because it's nice to know about new things that he didn't know about before. His favorite essentials are music and pizza. Music because it gives me that soul feeling, and pizza because it is really good. Outside of school, he enjoys hanging out with his family and checking in on the presidential election and playing piano. When he grows up, he wants to be an actor or a script writer. College, he says, yeah, probably, but not really sure where yet. And the message to his parents is, I am proud of myself for all of the work that I have put in, and thank you for raising me this way. And I'm not done yet. There's just so many great things to say about Marshall. His teachers wrote, it is difficult to fit all of the great things we have to say about Marshall into one paragraph. For starters, Marshall has an unbelievable attitude and passion for learning. He quite literally runs into school in the morning because he is so excited to learn. Marshall asks thoughtful and engaging questions during class time and is always an active part of the discussion, which makes him really fun to teach. In addition to his great attitude and his zest for learning, Marshall is a great friend to all. His peers and teachers know they can rely on Marshall to help him anytime they need a hand. He is dependable, helpful, full of joy and excitement, and a true budding star. We know Marshall will continue to do great things here at CHS and well beyond. So congratulations to Marshall.
All right.
I just want to say congratulations, Students of the Month. We're very proud of you. I know your teachers spend an awful lot of time thinking about who represents Cuyahoga Heights to the highest level. And it means something that you're here. It means something to your family. Congratulations to you. You probably had a hand in this, so I want to congratulate the parents as well. But, well done, and continue to be outstanding students and leaders here in the school. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 5-minute break to get photos out by the backdrop over here. You can get photos with the Board of Education first, then you can get individual photos. Afterwards, go out, get ice cream, stay up an extra hour, play games, whatever
Go on your
your
phone.
parents agree to. All right? Congratulations. I will be back in 5 minutes.
Okay, I think we're ready to reconvene. Got to use it for something. The next section would be Section 5, comments from the public, and we have nobody who has signed in for that, so let's move on to Section 6, treasurer's business. Mr. Muccio.
Thank you, Mr. Suchaki. Just have a couple of motions tonight for approval. I ask for motions 6A, 7A through 7F for approval tonight.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the treasurer's business items.
So moved?
Moved by Ms., why am I drawing a blank? Ms. Deca, sorry.
Second.
Second by Ms. Prowse. That one, I did a little better on that one. Any discussion?
Yep, 7A is our bank rec, financial reports, payments for board review for the first month of the new fiscal year, July 31st, 2024, that one. The next item, 7B, is our new vendors. We have about half a dozen. And if I open our lead sheet, number one is Core Essential Values, doing business as Core Essentials. That's for curriculum. Number two is Farnham Equipment Company for bleacher repair. Number three is Gen X Holdings for employee fitness for duty exam. Number four is Teaching Strategies. That's pre-K curriculum. Number five, new vendor is Cleveland Leadership Center. It's a participation fee for student leadership. Number six is Solar Flare Kiln Repair Services to repair our art class kilns. Number seven, Pine Haven Greenhouse for landscaping supplies, and Willow Way Nurseries also for landscaping supplies. 7C, donations, we have two to recognize, and we thank both. The first one is from OHSAA. That's a donation to each member's school in the amount of $2,000. And the second donation is from Disney. Now that's a matching donation for the original from Matthew and Stacy Manahan on behalf of the CoCab family for the Joe CoCab Fellowship Scholarship. So Disney matched their $5,000 scholarship. So two $5,000, $10,000 total.
That's wonderful.
Very nice.
7D is our permanent appropriations, and we modified from our temporary appropriations that we board approved earlier, and we're doing two changes. We're increasing our general fund appropriations by $220,200, and that's due to additional architect services for the rehab of the natatorium, the Hillside project, as well as tonight's fire alarm and security system project that Mr. Young is going to talk about later. And the second modification is going to be a $500 increase to Fund 451 for an increase in more funding that we've received. 7E, it's going to be a new grant called the Fiscal 25 Title III Language Instruction for English Learners. This is in the amount of $597.04. And we had previously joined the consortium with the ESC of Northeast Ohio since this grant's less than $10,000. So we'll put that 600 or so to good use. And 7F is going to be our then and now certificate. We have two. First one is All-American Sports. That's for football helmet and pad reconditioning. The second one is for the ESC of Northeast Ohio. That's for our special education and personnel for this school year. And we're approving number 2 tonight. I ask for those motions for approval tonight.
Okay, any questions for the treasurer on those items?
I was just curious, do we normally get a donation from the OSBA? Not OSBA, the,
OHSA?
yes, sorry.
We have in the past couple years, so we'll have to see if it keeps going. But last year I saw we did.
Okay, it was nice to see that.
Anything else? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Deck,
Aye.
Ms. Prowse,
Aye.
Mrs. Zetter,
Aye.
and Mr. Suchaki.
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Section 8, treasurer's comments. 9, I'm sorry.
Number of comments tonight. The first one, 9A, is going to be our final expenditure reports, FER, the abbreviation. So every year, we have to close out our grants by September 30th with the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. So this past year, and I wrapped these up this week, We closed out our fiscal '24 American Rescue Plan ESSER 3. So that completes all of our ESSER funding. We had 3 rounds, ESSER 1, ESSER 2, and ESSER 3. So that one's completely done. Our fiscal '24 consolidated, so that's made up of 5 grants, Title I, Title II, Title IV, IDEA, and IDEA Early Childhood Special Education. So there's a lot within that consolidated application for the final expenditure report. Then we have our fiscal '24 American Rescue Plan Homeless Targeted Support Grant. And one that we have, but it's not due until September 2026 per ODE, is our Stronger Connections Grant. 9B, so this is a bit of skill and a bit of luck, but we are staying at the Hilton Columbus again for Capital Conference.
Thank you.
Thank you for getting that.
Thank you for doing that.
Yep. 9C, all right, so I'm gonna talk about health insurance. So this one starts with Suburban Health Consortium. So I wanted to point out 2 items with them. First is just where the consortium stands overall. So if we click on that item and we look at the public content, we can see that we are in month 11 of 12, so August, and the Suburban Health Consortium, the financial statement's ending balance for August is 5.8 million, and we remain out of compliance with Ohio Revised Code 9.833, which is the bare minimum that the state says you legally have to have for an insurance consortium. So that's concerning that we continue on that path. The best estimate reserve, which was done in November 2023 by the actuary, and actuary has to do that, was 12.1. Now, the consortium knows that they have to update that 12.1 for the 3 schools that had left Suburban Health Consortium. So they're in process of working with the actuary to do that. But they estimate that that figure is going to be maybe around 7 or 8 million. So if we're at 5.8, we're still out of compliance. We have to be higher than that floor that they have. And then the third bullet point, as we are in month 11 of the fiscal year, we have a deficit, 7.5 million, which means our revenues were 98 million so far, and our expenditures were 105 million. So we began the fiscal year for Suburban Health Consortium, so it's 10/1 to 9/30, 13.3 million, plus $98 million worth of revenue, subtract $105 million worth of expenditures, gives us an ending balance of the 5.8, where we're at. So that's not good, $7.5 million deficit. So that brings us to our rates, if we look at the admin content. So if we scroll down, we can see that Assured Partners calculated the new medical and prescription drug rates that are set to begin 10/1/2024. Back on August 12th, the Suburban Health Consortium voted in favor of a 12.5 rate increase, which was proposed by Bay Village Schools. The 12.5 will be adjusted to fit within the new bucket approach methodology that was also approved by Suburban Health Consortium. So if we were to click on the first attachment, which is what I compiled, so it's kind of like a cheat sheet, we can see the rates and the percentage increase for 4 sets: family PPO, single PPO, and then family HSA and single HSA. And we can see that the family and single PPO, there's a 12.78 medical increase. Now that takes in place the 12.5 plus a small adjustment for the bucket approach calculation. So that's how the 12.78 comes to be. Below that line, we see the drug, prescription drug, at 12.5 increase. So that nets out to a 12.72 for both increase in yellow that we see. We look down at the bottom 2, family HSA and single HSA. We see that family HSA has a 9.1 medical increase, again, bucket approach calculation, so it's different than the 12.78. That's the bucket approach that was passed by Suburban Health. There's a 0% increase, no change, for prescription drug for HSA family, and that nets out in blue to 7.28 family HSA increase. So we see it is lower than the yellow PPO, which is good, because again, the board pays 85%, employees pay 15%. And then our single HSA, we see that that increase for medical was a 9.2 bucket approach calculation. Below that, also 0% prescription drug increase. And And then in green, we see that that nets out to a 7.35 increase for single HSA. And I'll close out of here. And then if we look down at item D, 9D, this is going to be our dental insurance. So, a small recap. Back in November of 2020, the Board of Education voted to adopt and approved an MOU changing our vision and dental insurance from, at the time, Medical Mutual to Delta Dental and VSP for vision. Last year, there was no increase in rates, and there's an automatic renewal that happens every year. And this year, we have a 7.35 increase for dental insurance from Delta Dental. Again, the staff's been happy with the switch. They were the ones actually, we worked together to review it. So 7.35 matches industry standards as we've been talking. It's actually lower than where we're at with Suburban Health Consortium, with medical prescription drug,
Did
in
we
essence.
anticipate or have, did we know that there might be an increase?
We forecast for an increase.
Okay. It wasn't at that time when we switched over that there was a guaranteed no increase for a
Well,
period of time?
There was. So we had, for a certain amount of time, our increase was kind of, what we knew, but this renewal for a period of 1 year, came years after 2020, and we're looking at a 7.35
Okay.
for dental insurance, our plan. And then below 9E is going to be our VSP for vision insurance. And there is no rate increase for vision insurance, so that continues with where we're at. And we have a 2-year renewal for vision. And then 9F, we applied in conjunction with Neonet a cybersecurity grant. So this potential grant would provide collective cybersecurity for all schools that participate with Neonet. It's up to $20,000 in funding available through the grant, and there's a 20% cost share, or $4,000 that we would have to put up to get a $20,000 benefit. So $16,000 is the real benefit that we see.
So we're going to do this?
We
or-
already did, yeah, we already did. So hopefully we get the grant through Neonet. Neonet's the primary one applying for it. We're kind of secondary, and we hopped on it.
Did we have to advance that $4,000 to do this?
Not yet.
Okay.
But, Mr. Young and myself, we sat and we listened to a presentation that was done earlier this week by a school district that they talked about cybersecurity and how it affected their school and how they lost funds to the tune of, what was it, 4.3 million? Remember that? Yeah, so, the city of Cleveland got hit with a cyber attack.
Columbus.
Columbus, it's unfortunately a matter of time before we get hit. So we try, to be mindful and vigilant. Almost every week I'm hit with some type of fraud email, somebody pretending to be somebody else. So I just have to, always have professional skepticism with every transaction that I do.
And this is only a verbal commitment, so if Neonet gets the grant, we have the ability to pull out of the consortium if we want to. So they were looking for people who would be interested, so they were hoping to get between 40 and 60 school districts. But there was no commitment other than a verbal commitment at this time. And then on that matter, that's why we asked people to come early tonight, because of the multi-factored authentication that we're putting in place, which increases our insurance coverage substantially by putting these some of these low-hanging fruit safety factors in place. So yeah, cybersecurity is something that is a priority in just about every school district and government entity across the country at this time.
And those are the items I have for approval.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Treasurer, please call the roll. Or did we already vote on them? No. Yes, we did. We did. I'm sorry, I'm out of sync. All right, moving into sections 10 through, I believe, 17. Superintendent's business.
Yeah, this might be the healthiest section of the superintendent section I've ever seen on a board agenda. I think that's what 3 weeks in between meetings does for you. All right, I asked that items 10A through D, 11A and B, 12A and B, 13A through E, 14A, and 15A A through A be considered for approval tonight.
Okay. Anyone like to make that motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Decker,
Second.
second by Ms. Etter.
Okay, I'll do my best to go through this efficiently. Under 10, it's superintendent's business, general business. A and B are both connected to Ohio High School Athletic Association. The first is, should we have any teams participate in tournaments at the regional or state level? This would allow us to, it's the pre-approval for things like meals, transportation, hotel rooms. Should any of our individuals or teams make it to that depth of the tournament. And then letter B is related to the tournaments. This gives me the ability to sign into contract with the Ohio High School Athletic Association to be a host site, either because we are directly participating in that event or we are a neutral site and have the capacity and facilities to host. We do use our own workers, and I believe at the last meeting we looked at what those costs would be should we have people managing those particular events. Letter C is a memorandum of understanding with the Cuyahoga Heights Association of Teachers related to the Me Too proposal or consensus related to 24-27 negotiated agreement. Letter D is our adoption and then modification of the miscellaneous pay rate schedule. So this is the adoption for the 24-25 school year. These are positions that are not connected to either contract but are necessary to have within the district. And we've modified two of the payment schedules. That's the substitute bus and van drivers, as well as the substitute custodians, and then the substitute cleaners and cafeteria staff. We have set those substitute rates at step 1 of the 2024-25 negotiated agreement of the Chase contract. 11A, dealing with resignations. We have the resignation of Danielle Picone, who's just taken a job closer to home. She's a bus driver the last year and a student monitor. She's done a fantastic job in both positions. Certainly going to miss her, and anytime she wants to apply to come back, we would certainly take her. Letter B, this was related to Mr. Durazio, Mr. Dan Durazio, who we approved back in the spring to be a paid coach. He does not want to be paid, he wants to be volunteer. And so at the last meeting, if you recall, we approved Mr. Ranella to take that place. So Mr. Durazio is going from paid position to volunteer position, and this is that official adoption of that resignation. As far as appointments go, so we lose a driver, and we've worked hard to pick 2 up. One is somebody who has had a CDL, that's Michelle LaPenta. This is going to be at step 1 of the negotiated agreement. We approved her effective this past Monday because we need to get her into a professional development that will reactivate her CDL to drive a school bus. She's currently driving for Educational Alternatives as a van driver. And then we have an unassigned driver who we're going to need to get trained. This is Mr. Franco Shafalo. He's a resident of the school district. I believe all 3 boys, right? He's got 1 left in school. And we're bringing him at step 1. We're going to train him from start to finish. He's really interested in becoming a driver, so we'll get him approved as a van driver first. And then we have 2 instructors, state-level instructors, who can then start training him here on campus to be a bus driver. So we hope to have him driving a bus within the next 3 to 6 months, depending on how fast he progresses. All right, 13, this is employment of supplemental positions. Letter A, these are chat supplementals, chat-related supplementals. So we've got assistant football coaches and head football coach. We're making 89% of a full contract upon Mr. Muccio's recommendation and conversations. We decided to set that at just a full 100% rate as opposed to an 89% or an 89% rate. You have the DC trip coordinator is in there. You've got another scorer, and then you have that interim cheerleading advisor at 50%, which is the remainder of the season for the fall sports season. Letter B, this is supplemental positions related to the miscellaneous pay rate. These are ticket takers. We've had to increase the number of ticket takers because we were required by law to start accepting cash again, and cash requires a larger staff. So That's why we need extra people. Some of these folks had started working earlier in the year, but we can't pay them until we officially board approve them, and so that's why this is here. We're looking to approve Sohair Solomon, who's been a 25-year loyal employee of the district, who is looking to be a substitute custodian. On Mondays, we're always short one custodian because of the differential for those that have to work the Tuesday through Saturday shift. So this would give us an opportunity to bring her in for up to 5 hours on Mondays. And if that works well, then maybe in the future she becomes a regular custodian 3. But she does a great job working for us. Next would be our resident educator, year 2, Emma Morrow, is required by law, required to have a mentor through 2 years until they pass the RESA exam. So Kristen Dillman, intervention specialist next door, will be her mentor, Ms. Morrow. It's hard to believe. She graduated in 2018. This is her 2nd year already teaching. She's an intervention specialist next door. Letter E is related to the supplemental in the chat contract for curriculum writing. Back in the spring, we approved 6 new English courses to be taught in the 11th and 12th grade year. They're all semester courses. They're listed there: world mythology, sports literature and composition, fictional perspectives, science fiction and superheroes, nonfiction, and then fiction through film. The supplemental stipend or supplemental pay for a full course would be $750. These are semester courses, so it's $375 per semester course, and you see the individuals who will be responsible for turning in those curriculum maps that verifies that the curriculum has been written for those courses. 14, this is employment of volunteers or substitutes. This is our updated list for substitute teachers. Actually, I don't think we have anybody new added to this list, but we approve it on a 1-month basis. So this is just reapproving these folks who we approved back in August. And then 15, we're dealing with agreements, contracts, and memberships. Letter A, this is the annual agreement with State Industrial Products. This is related to the wastewater treatment of our drains, as well as chemical treatment of our pumps. A cost of $5,707 for the year. This is an annual vendor that we use. Next is for our food service program. This is to join the co-op group to get preferred pricing for some of the supplies in our cafeteria, hospital purchasing services called HPS. And again, this is a co-op that we have joined in recent years. Letter C, this is related to a field trip. Our kindergarten group does a lot of amazing field trips related to the curriculum and the experiences our kids get. So this is going to Luther Farms. They required an agreement, and because all agreements have to be board approved, that's why we're doing this, even though it's a cost of $480 to take the kids on a field trip.
So are we paying for this, or are the individuals
We
are
do.
paying?
We pay for a certain number of field trips for our elementary students a year, and then once we get past a certain threshold, we may charge the students. But most everything fits within the generous budget that Mr. Muccio allocates for the elementary school. We even have principal accounts called 018 accounts. So when we do like the Stoller pastry fundraiser, that goes into the principal's account. And sometimes the principal will use some of that money to cover an additional field trip. We really, as long as we have something related to the curriculum, we really try hard not to charge students for those experiences. And most of them aren't super expensive unless you're going to Nashville, like I think you were familiar with at one time, Mrs. Deca. So next, this is the agreement with United Fundraising for the elementary school, which isn't really much of a fundraising more than it's an agreement. I think it's a fundraising raiser for the company. So what they do is they get a hold of our school list. We did this past year. They get a hold of our school supplies list, and this company will put together that package. So if you have 30 different items, then they will put together that package, and then they will market that to our families, and the family can do a one-stop shop as opposed to going to Target and Walmart and Kohl's and all the amazing Drug Mart, all the amazing places you can go to get your 30 supplies. So we did this the past year, and we're just signing on to turn over our class list to this group again.
Did it work well this year?
I heard.
Well received?
Did you use it? I did not. See, you just with the old-fashioned way. You like to go to Target and to.
So much left over from last year.
Yeah. Yeah, the people that have used it have been very complimentary about it. I know Mrs. Zork was instrumental in the spring in getting us back signed up with this. She had used it when she was at Aurora as well, and it came. She recommended it, and I really trust her professional judgment. She's been doing this a long time and is really in tune with our elementary families. Letter E. This is our big annual agreement with the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio for our related services positions. So this is the hiring of our gifted intervention specialist, our gifted coordinator, which those two positions specifically, we do receive some reimbursement back from the ESC for that. It's our occupational therapist, our speech language pathologist, all of our educational aides and bus attendants are all part of this list. And if you recall, at one time, our intervention specialists would have been part of this list as well, but now those are all, they are all part of the Cuyahoga Heights Association of Teachers. Next is the REACH counseling services. Mr. Burek has been a point person for this. So, with our own school system of our approach to student wellness, you would start obviously with the classroom teacher, but then sometimes that classroom teacher will make the referral to the school counselor. And if that student needs some additional services, then that student may be referred to the social worker. Well, at some point, you get beyond even what the social worker can do, and you need to go to that next step, and that's where REACH comes in, and they're able to provide additional, more intensive services, as well as provide services to the families, because sometimes there are extenuating circumstances beyond what even we as a school can control, and this allows us to engage the families even at a different level. And Mr. Burek, you've even said sometimes you'll have families who run into difficulty with insurance costs, like they don't have insurance for these types of things, and so this provides an additional layer of support for those families as well. So, it's how long have we been working with REACH now? 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I think it was the first year I came back, maybe. All right, letter G, this is our musical for the year. There's a big reveal on Friday, so we're not talking about what the musical is tonight, but this is the rights to the musical. I guess if all of our students are listening right now, they can go on and check out the board agenda. Next item is our agreement with No Walk Tours to facilitate the pricing for our 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. That's going to occur in March. And then letter I, this is the agreement related to the fire alarm and security system improvement project. This is for GPD to be the project managers and the architects on this particular venture. That, again, we know that our fire system is 30 years old. We did a major repair this summer, major. It was majorly successful despite odds being against us to find a replacement part. And so this is to start that process of replacing the fire system. And there's an urgent necessity resolution that's related to this coming up in your section. So those are all of my items, all of them.
Sure about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for the superintendent or further discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Mrs. Etter?
Aye.
Ms. Prowse?
Aye.
Mr. Suchaki?
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Moving on to section 17, superintendent comments.
Yep, just a few things. Next board meeting, I'll be doing a state report card update, as I'm required to do within 60 days of the release of the state report card by state law. As I've communicated and I put that out in the newsletter, we put it out on social media, and I communicated to the board. We did get 5 stars again overall as a school district. We're one of 68 school districts in the state of Ohio to receive 5 stars. And then all of our buildings are also 5 stars. Pretty incredible that I believe it's approximately 270 schools in Ohio out of 3,342 receive 5 stars. So we really are in elite company despite any variable that comes our way, whether it's COVID or changing demographics or changing curriculum, I really have to give our staff and our students, who are the two stars of this whole thing, right? The two direct stars would be our staff and our students. Just so much credit for this, and we'll talk get a lot more in depth about that. And if there's any other presentations, because we really, with the work sessions, should get back to doing a presentation every month or two, because that's the time to get updates on various things, whether it's facilities or special education. We could talk about grants. We could talk about anything. So if you have ideas for topics you'd like to know about just in general, as well as even student presentations, because we have some amazing students in our school as well. So, but that's going to come at the next meeting. Last weekend, I attended two, again, incredible events. On Friday night was a PTO family tailgate. It was, I mean, Mr. Melvin said it was one of the most impressive things that he's, and he's seen a lot of impressive things here. It was like a carnival, almost like a carnival. We had everything except for like ponies and merry-go-rounds and things like that. I know this PTO will go there. They're like, oh, we're going to bring Cedar Point to Cuyahoga Heights. But it was so amazing to see so many people there, to see our band show up and our cheerleaders show up, and to have, I mean, the whole family. If you were a family that had elementary, middle, and high school students, you were there. You had food, you had fun, you had unity and camaraderie. And then we went down and did the football thing. So it was that was an incredible event on Friday night. And I know they have other events coming up here in October. We've got Goodies with Grands coming, I think on October 10th. It's Grandparents' Day. So that's coming on October 10th. And I believe that following Sunday, so it'll be 11th, 12th, 13th, the Browns are away, and they want to do trunk or treat. So we're going to do trunk or treat from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the back parking lot. So they're taking on a lot in a very short period of time, and it's great. And they're starting to make their presence in the middle school, so I'm really grateful to our PTO for that. Then on Saturday, and again, giving other people credit, Mark Chase, alumnus of the district, and I think he facilitates the Alumni Association. We had the alumni picnic down at Klima Gardens, and I went down and helped serve the meals with Mr. Chase and a couple others. The band was there, again, before they went to their showcase, and then some of our cheerleaders came down as well. It was awesome to see our alumni. We had the class of 2 members from the class of 53. We had 4 members from the class of 64. And there were a lot of people from the class of 74 there. And when the band came down to play, I mean, they were up, they were clapping. It was an incredible event. And it was great to talk to people and to catch up. Like that class of 74, for example, when they were kindergarten students, they were the last group to start kindergarten in the art room. That's the old kindergarten. And then they got relocated to Village Hall for a small period of time, and then they moved in March into the elementary school. They were the first group to move into the elementary school. And just to hear about, even from the class of 74, it was the 64 group that moved into I'm getting my years, 64 moved in there first. But the class of 74, one of their members talked about how impactful Cuyahoga Heights was on their life, and how great their teachers were, and how special it really was to be part of such a small but close-knit community where students could get involved to the point that it changed the trajectory of their life. So it was amazing to be part of that and visit with these great alumni. Homecoming is this weekend. We've got the game with Independence on Friday night, and then we have the dance coming on Saturday. So it's hard to believe that it's at that time of year where we're on the second half of football season, so it's fall's moving right along. And then I think it was last week we had the Best Committee on a Wednesday night, and that's going to start running once a month. The next one's coming up on October 16th. I'll have another sign-up for that. And our focus is on facilities as well as safety and security, so that's one of the pillars. And then finances is another one, so we want to really engage the community in some of our conversations about the various projects that we have here in our amazingly seasoned building, and how we're going to keep it going there. So Do I have anything else? Is that it? I think that's good for tonight. But so proud of the students of the month. They're just amazing. We have so many. I say I'm using amazing too much, but you can't use amazing too much. I had somebody come in today, and he just says, "This is just a beautiful school, and I can't get over how well behaved your students are." And that's a consistent theme that we've heard year after year after year. We're not perfect, but my goodness, we're amazing. So I think that's it. I think that's it for now.
Okay. Any other questions for the superintendent? Well, we've got him here.
Mr. Evans must be listening because he just sent me a message, says never call that school down the road by their real name. He says it's the school down the road. So Mr. Evans, I know you're out there. Thank you for that. I will not make that mistake again.
Okay.
He can't get away. I mean, I know. I mean, he was here today. We had a Mr. Evans sighting. He was in the building.
Here.
And we met, the Hall of Fame committee met today, and we're planning that next event, and so it was great to see him today.
We're hiring for maybe more bus drivers.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Evans wants to be a bus driver.
Yep.
He used to do that at one time.
Sure he did.
Okay, moving on to section 18, I'd like to make a motion for the following 3 items. Approve the treasurer's attendance at the 2024 CPIM conference. Approve resolution of urgent necessity to replace the fire and security system. And approve attendance at the Northeast Ohio Region Fall Conference. May I have a second for those items, please?
I'll second.
Mrs. Decker? Any discussion? I think we've already talked about the urgent necessity item.
Yeah, there's, just so people listening understand, and Matt, you can jump in as well. There's a section of Ohio Revised Code 3313.46, which allows you to kind of bypass the sealed bid process. You still have to bid it out. It doesn't mean that you're not going to receive bids, but it speeds up the process because you have a situation that requires just what it says, urgent necessity, in order to operate schools safely, efficiently, in a timely manner. So this is one of those reasons that would qualify, and it would make lawyers happy. Our lawyer drafted this, and it would make auditors, it would check their boxes as well, that we were able to kind of bypass some parts of our board policy because of the cost of this, to speed up the process. Because we certainly don't want to get in a situation where the fire alarm fails and then you are doing the fire watch as required by our fire marshal, fire inspector to do so. So this would be a reason for applying that. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, just that, what it's called urgent necessity, it speeds up the process. So, competitive bidding, you have to go out for so long, and you have to advertise for so long, and then open sealed bids after, a process. Urgent necessity exists for, situations that arise that sometimes it can't wait. So if a roof is blown off, boiler breaks down, or if our fire alarm security system panel, is kind of on its last legs and it's being held together by a Band-Aid. What this provision in law allows school boards to do is say, we're deeming this, such an urgent necessity that we have to move as quickly as possible. We are still, like Mr. Young's saying, gonna get quotes and negotiate with vendors. And we had previously already tonight approved GPD to manage the overall project. This just allows us to move quicker because it is such a important aspect.
And then letter C is related to Mr. Evans is being honored at the OSBA Northeast Region as the Superintendent of the Year. That's at the Galaxy Restaurant next Wednesday. It's already next Wednesday at 5 o'clock.
Right, and I'm excluded from that particular one because I'm going as part of the Career Center.
You're allowed to talk to us, though, Mr.
But
Shuchaki.
I will be
when you
allowed
are
to
there.
talk to you.
Will be allowed to talk to us, yeah.
Maybe even sit at the table.
There you go.
Because I don't know how many people from the Career Center are going. Might just be me, actually, and the person who's getting the award. So, okay, no further discussion. I think we can call the roll on this one.
Mr. Suchaki?
Aye.
Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Mrs. Etter?
Aye.
Ms. Kraus?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Board discussion and comments. Anybody have any comments for this evening? I have a couple things, but I have to find out where I put them. Oh, here we go. I attended the ESC training session this week. I found it quite intriguing. I think I understand better why we went through some of the specifics that we did with our levy this past time around, because there were, the lawyer who I've worked with for a number of years, he went through a list of things that he said, you gotta watch out for this, you gotta watch out for that. And of course, there's the same sorts of things that we were doing, being careful about wording any notification that all that touches the school district. I asked about, he was so vehement about some of these items. I said, well, what if this committee wants to use the building? Can they use the building? He said, well, yeah, but if there's an opposition committee, they have to be able to use the building too. Right? So he went on about that quite a bit. He also talked about somebody by the name of Brian Ames, who hasn't hit Cuyahoga County yet, but he's an open government and I see advocate, and has been a real very specific about going after boards that are not dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's of their procedures.
Yeah, it's really important that we follow all the rules associated to board meetings, from timely posting. I mean, he's going around saying, with what you posted on Friday, is that different than what you actually show people on Wednesday? And did you do the proper notification? Did you change it? I mean, he's looking for every nuance, suing districts, and is settling out of court. He's made 6 figures doing that on an annual basis. So yeah, everywhere we go, we're warned about this individual. Yeah.
So we need to watch out for him. So far, he has not hit any Cuyahoga County schools, at least as far as.
The closest he got around here, so last year at the OSBA conference, the board members attended, the superintendent and treasurer were there, and they held a board meeting down there, and they did everything that they were supposed to do, but what he claimed was that it wasn't a reasonable opportunity for the public to attend in order to provide public comment. And so they got sued, they lost, they settled out of court, somewhere around $7,000, I believe.
Okay, so we were warned about him. We were warned about Board of Education members' personal liability, that if you don't follow exactly board policy, doing certain things, that you can be personally liable for things that you might do that would be contrary, that would be inappropriate for a board member to do. He didn't give any specifics, but he said make sure you follow board policy, because if you do, insurance kicks in. If you don't, insurance will be denied, and you're on your own. So that came up. He talked about board versus superintendent committees. It sounds like we're much better off. It's easier to follow the law if you stay with the superintendent committee rather than switching to a board committee. Let me phrase it that way. And he recommended that you do that. Also talked about a max of 2 board members on any superintendent committee. And as he put it, preferably less. And do not elect or appoint your board persons either, right? Which is what we have done with the committee that we have going on. EOS committee. He talked about criminal liability possibilities, Bellbrook and Sugar Creek, because they spent money on their levy campaign, got sued criminally for that one. He was a lawyer. What do you? He did the presentation, but he's very realistic as well. And like I said, I've known Eric for a long time, and I was very glad to sit through another one of his presentations. Just got to keep these in the right order here. He talked about the ERIC method: educate, review, implement, and then consult and comply, which I thought was interesting. He warned us about House Bill 68 coming up. Said make sure you do not have written policy on things like restrooms, because if you have a written policy, then that, and I don't know the details of that, we could talk to our own legal counsel if we ever get into that situation. He indicated that Title IX new regulations are on hold, so we're still under his 2020 version. And then he was really worried about something called Senate Bill 29, which is monitoring of IT equipment.
Yeah, we're working actively with our IT department to be, I mean, it's here in a month later. You want to talk about what we're doing?
It's due in October, and Mr. Moore is trying to meet the information by 9:30, so we'll do it a month ahead. But you have to collect the contracts for any of our technology vendors for software that we use that has data privacy. We need to identify specifically what data they take on students, and then give them a copy of the policy itself as well. So it's pretty big projects, because outside of the things that we purchase for the district, there's other software that sometimes that's used by teachers in classrooms that maybe there's not a cost associated with, but there's still a vetting process and you need to go through and you follow the same technique for that. And one of the significant parts of this is, we're trying to educate our staff on this change in law, because they can be liable themselves for using these things without going through this process. So it's tough when people are getting accustomed to using things, but if some of these companies are using student data in an inappropriate manner, then we just want to be aware of that and protect that information. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, the lawmakers are finding that what they put into place maybe isn't exact. Maybe they didn't know exactly what they were voting on with some of these things. So, for example, we have a filtering system that notifies us of keywords and phrases, and many times, most often, they're tied to some type of academic. So if you're studying To Kill a Mockingbird, and you're typing a summary, and you put the word kill, about 5 of us receive a notification that a student has entered the word kill. And so we go in, we look at it, and we determine this is nothing, and we just kind of go on our way and close out the case. But sometimes students are looking to do some type of self-harm. And we do a process kicks into place there. And so at that point, and we always have notified the family. We don't monitor students' devices for our pleasure or for whim. It is simply for protection and safety. But when we do see something, we have to say something then to the parents, which we've already done. Now, I'm not sure if everybody has followed that, but we have there'll be a 72-hour notification window that if you do search a child's device, you have to let the parents know within 72 hours why. And it has to comply with one of the reasons in the law, one of the very specific reasons. So it's going to be a challenge for many districts to implement, but I feel like we're going to be okay.
We were pretty responsive. I think it was a Friday night in the summertime. I was getting ice cream, get a call from Mr. Young. He saw a notification. I got a notification, and we contacted the parents in less than 72 minutes. So we've been pretty responsive with a lot of staff that are part of that process that take it seriously and communicate with one another, make sure that when we do see something that be potentially detrimental for a student or family, we want to make sure we get the supports in place right away.
So, good. I thought, for me, that was new news. I was not aware of some of these changes.
Yeah, and I've provided some of those links in the Friday updates if you want to read more about Senate Bill 29, House Bill 68. I sit currently on 13 different committees or subcommittees as superintendent for Cuyahoga Heights, trying to keep current with everything that's coming out in legislature as well as curriculum. He sits on committees for special education and business management, and Mr. Muccio attends several meetings a month. So we try to stay as informed as we possibly can on all these things, and spreads us thin sometimes, but it's worth it. Like the time now could save us a lot of time later.
So I have a list of the other items or the other presentations in the leadership learning activities. The only trouble is they're inconsistent. Some of them say they're free, and then others, the same event on a different handout says there's a charge. So I just noticed that tonight. I didn't see it when I picked these up the other day, so I'm gonna have to give them a call and ask them which one is accurate, in case anybody else would like to attend these sessions. But like I said, I do enjoy going to at least a few of them every year, and Eric Johnson did the last one, and I've worked with Eric a number of times over the years, and he's quite a privilege, or quite a pleasure to deal with. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that tomorrow night, CVCC has a formal groundbreaking ceremony for all of the expansions that they're doing. We've talked about that a few times. It's at 5 o'clock, and our board meeting follows at 6. At that board meeting, we're going to get the enrollment update for the year, so I'll be able to present that at our next meeting, how many of our students are there. Percentage-wise, we have been the leader for some time, percent of students attending the Career Center. So we'll see. I did get an email from the superintendent, including, among other things, the fact that he met with the Department of Education and Workplace, DEW, I think is the right one, right? Is that the right acronym now? And they're talking about one of the things that has come up is something called vocational education for all. So we're trying to understand what that means, and of course work together with all of the 8 districts to figure out where that goes going forward. So, and that's all I have. One last chance. Anybody else? Okay. Any future agenda items? Hearing none. Informational items. Should be noted the Board of Education members received their agenda several days prior to the meeting and have had time to study and ask questions and so on. Upcoming meetings. October the 9th, work session at 6. October 23rd, regular meeting at 7. November 6th, another work session at 6, and those are all Wednesdays. And unless somebody else has something to bring up, I'll ask for adjournment. You want to make a motion for adjournment?
Go for it.
So
Go for it.
move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Etter,
Aye.
Ms. Brass,
Aye.
Mrs. Decker,
Aye.
Mr. Suchaki.
Aye, motion passes 4-0. We are adjourned at 8:24 p.m.